Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. I'll be your safari guide today. We journey through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. A couple of things before we get going. I will ask everyone to please remain fully, completely seated throughout our entire journey. As everyone of all ages, either to seat or on the left. Please keep your hands on your feet laid beside the truck at all times, and keep those face coverings on fully over your nose and your mouth. That's what girls do ask. We'll begin our journey right now through the little Ituri forest first. A lot of the animals in the forest area are really good at camouflage and hiding, so definitely keep your eyes peeled. You never know what you'll find. Out to your left-hand side up ahead, you'll see a saddle-billed stork. Saddle-billed storks, males and females, have different colored eyes. Make sure we, yeah. Males have a brown eye, females have a bright yellow. They stand at about 5 feet tall with a wingspan of 6 feet. On your right-hand side though, right in the top left corner area, you'll see an okapi. Now okapi do have those zebra-like stripes, but it does not mean they're related to a zebra at all. They are not. They're only related to the giraffe family. They're like a cousin of the giraffe. They have the same body type, same long parental tongue. They just don't have to be as tall as a giraffe because they're already in a low-density forest environment. As we come around on the hill on your right-hand side, you might be able to spot that bongo up there. Bongos are also known as the ghosts of the forest because they're rarely seen. Both male and female bongos have horns on their heads, so one way to tell them apart is the male's coat. That gets darker as they age. But down on your left-hand side, you'll see a black rhino. Black rhinos get about 3,000 pounds. They don't have any natural predators in the wild, but they are endangered. And it's because they're being poached for their horns. What's in their horn is the same thing that's in our fingernails and hair. It's not worth anything. But due to poaching, there's only about 5,000 black rhino left in the world today. The conservation actions and efforts make a very big positive difference for them. There's more bongos up on the hill on your right-hand side. They're pretty cool. When they're wanting to hide from something, that's their natural instinct. Instead of running away, the best thing for them to do is use their camouflage to their advantage. So even their front quarters, they'll hide behind a tree and leave their hindquarters out because it's still able to blend in. For now, then we'll make our way over this hill around the corner. Next stop will be at the Safi River, which is a great place to look out for Nile Hippopotamus. The sun is up though, they could be in the water, basically sleeping. They'll sleep throughout the day. They'll come out of the water at night to do their grazing, eating tons of vegetation. In fact, on your right-hand side, there's a couple of Nile Hippos right in the water. Oh, and on your left-hand side coming up too. When you see a group of Nile Hippos together, it's called a float. They can hold their breath up to 8 minutes at a time. Even if they're asleep in the water, they'll raise their head up and down automatically for a breath of air. You'll see their eyes, nostrils, and ears are positioned perfectly at tips of their head, so they don't have to lift their entire head out of the water to breathe. Also on the island there on your left are pink-backed pelicans. They're one of the smaller of the pelican species, one of 8 pelican species in the world. They get their name because of their mating season. That's when they get more of a pink back. It's just the skin on their back though that changes color, not their feathers every season. But coming up on your left-hand side, you'll see Nile Crocodiles. Nile crocodile are the largest of the crocodile species. They can get as long as a giraffe is taller. They have incredible jaw strength, though they're able to crush the bones of their prey. But they also make great parents. When they want to encourage their eggs to hatch, they roll their eggs down in their mouth with their tongue. For now, then we'll make our way out of the forest area to the savannah. A lot of the animals in the forest, though, are protected or even endangered. well simply by recycling our old cell phones. Coming up on your right-hand side, we'll pass a Baobab tree as well. Baobab trees are also known as the upside-down tree because they look like they're upside down with the roots in the air, when in actuality it's just remaining leafless for about 9 months of the year in order to retain tons of water in its trunk. Sometimes you'll see elephants go up to Baobab trees, poke holes at the base and get some water. It's especially great during the drought season. And most people consider right around here the most beautiful view in the entire reserve. As you can see for miles. My personal favorite view though is seeing an African animal up really close to the truck. So we'll see if we can find to that view goal today. There's definitely some giraffes right down here. The tallest land mammal in the world. They get about 18 feet tall. And they spend their days eating. Giraffes eat 18 to 20 hours a day. Non-stop eaters, and to help them eat is their long prehensile tongue. Their tongues are able to wrap around the tree branches, for example, and bring in the leaves. It's also a purplish gray color. Now scientifically we don't know why their tongues are that color, but the guess is that maybe it's sun-proof, since they're almost always eating. To your left-hand side, on the top left of that den area, you might be able to spot those African wild dogs. A little hard to see right now, but they're out there. African wild dogs are also known as painted dogs because of all the splotchy patterns on their fur. We might have a better view right up here. They are the most successful predators in Africa because they hunt as a group and collectively they're able to outrun their prey to exhaustion. Oh, but easier to see right up here to your left-hand side. Out there you'll see some Sable Antelope. They are the symbol here of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve because unlike most antelope who would tend to run away in the face of danger, instead they will stand their ground, always. We'll pass a few termite mounds making our way. Termite mounds are made of dirt, dung, and saliva. In the African sun, they become as hard as concrete. And other animals tend to use them as a scratching post. As we come around, we'll see a few zebras coming up to your left-hand side. In fact, those are mountain zebras. They have smaller legs than most zebras, and they're the only type of zebra with a dew lap. It's an extra skin flap hanging down under their neck that helps them regulate their body temperature. Most people are always curious if zebras are black with white stripes or white with black stripes, and it's pretty easy to tell simply by looking at their nose. Their muzzle is black, so that shows that is the base color. So zebras are black with white stripes. When you see a whole group of zebras together, it would be called a dazzle. There's a lot of different theories as to why they're black and white. That is honestly though the million-dollar question. We don't actually know. Guesses include maybe they get bit by flies less, or it really just helps them as they're running away from predators, so predators would see black, white, black, white, black, white. But we don't actually know the actual answer to that question. To your right-hand side are white bearded wildebeests laying down. When they're migrating, their numbers can get as high as 1.5 million at a time. You'll also see some springboks on the hill just past those giraffes. Springboks are the national animal of South Africa. They're 3 feet tall and they're one of the top 10 fastest animals in the world. They can run up to 50 miles an hour. Giraffes don't sleep like we do. They only get about 2 hours of deep sleep a day. They'll sleep periodically throughout their day in 30-minute increments. Sometimes if they're riding wild, they'll sleep very dreaming. themselves down a lot faster. It's also like a big fan. But speaking of large, the largest monkeys in the world are on your left, the mandrills. Now they do have tails, which makes them monkeys. If they don't have tails, like gorillas don't, that makes them apes. But mandrills are the largest monkeys. They get about 100 pounds for males, about 30 pounds for females. As you see on the right-hand side, that elephant is using their trunk to pick up the food, bring it up to their mouth. It's prehensile, which is why it's able to wrap around, pick up the food. But even the very tip end of their trunk is prehensile. It's able to pinch and pick up something as small as an M&M. So let's head deeper into elephant country. See if we can't find any more African elephants. Oftentimes when they're migrating, they'll travel in a big family group. And they'll walk over anything and everything in their path, which included trampling over farmers' crops in Africa. The farmers were not very pleased with that. The 60s Conservation Trust stepped in. They did a research on African elephants to help protect them. From that study, we learned that elephants, for as large and as majestic as they are also afraid of bees. Now, we don't exactly know the reason why. Could be minutes. They might not like the bunting sound, the big frequency pitch. They might just not want to get stung because it's sensitive skin. But the reason doesn't really matter for this study because we already figured out a solution by knowing that they'll keep their distance from bees. Simply by putting beehive fences around the farmer's area. And it is working. In Africa, the elephants are safe because of it. They're keeping their distance from the crops, which makes the farmers happy too. They have their crops again, but they also have another source of income by selling honey from the bees. It even helps the declining bee population by adding a few more beehives in the world. So truly, everybody wins. On your left-hand side, take a look. Oh, now they're playing with each other. Though they might have been playing like that, and this big guy, I believe his name is Mac, even. Whenever he just wants them to stop, he'll come up and move, you know, and the other guys know that you don't mess with him, so he wants you to stop, you're gonna stop. I think that's what happened. Up ahead, though, on your left-hand side, you'll see what's called a flamboyant. That's another name for a group of flamingos. These are greater flamingos. They're the largest of the flamingo species and the lightest pink color. Flamingos get their color not from being hatched. They're hatched light, fluffy, and gray. It's lighter in light as they eat a ton of brine and shrimp. The carotene in the shrimp is what turns their feathers pink. So in a way, they're the reason you have that saying, you are what you eat. There's some scimitar horned oryx laying in the trees. Scimitar horned oryx can go months without having to drink any water. They get a lot of the water from the vegetation they eat. Of course, if they're by a water source, they will drink water, but they do not start to sweat cheetahs are the fastest land animal in the world. They can go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds. They cannot maintain their max speed for too long though, so when they're done with their chase, they'll shoot their tails up in the air to act as a rudder. But they're the only cats in the whole wide world that cannot retract their claws. Every other cat can bring their claws in and out except for cheetahs, and that's because they rely so much on their high-speed chase. It's better to just keep it as a permanent soccer cleat basically on their feet so you can help them run. Out to your left-hand side, see that tree that's closest to the big rocks? Right at the base of that. See the lion walking around.
You see the lion?
Now, lions are very social. They'll stay in a family group called a pride. That right there is an adult male lion with this big intimidating mane. His only job in the pride is to protect the family, keep everyone safe. The adult female though, the lioness, their jobs are to do most of the hunting. Oh, and there they are, on your left side, right along that rock.
There's no, that's right.
You see the back of her ears, how they have that black spot? Now my guess is that from the back, oh, actually listen to that. A lion's roar can be heard up to 5 miles away. Now I was saying that when the lioness hunt all together, oh, make sure we do keep our voices down. When the lioness hunt together from the back, you see that blacker spot? That's probably to help them see each other as they're stalking their prey. From the front, they're all blended in with the brush. To your left-hand side, those burrows in the ground could have been made from warthogs. They're the largest burrowing animals after all. Oh, and actually there's one along in the rock straight across on your left side. Look for the fluffy rock and you might be able to spot him.
Oh, okay. Oh.
But right down here you might have already seen these white rhino, like I was telling you about. They're not white like the name suggests though. And it's not just because they probably rolled in the mud already today. It's their wide jawline. The Afrikaans word for wide is white, which sounds like white, and that's kind of how the name just stuck. They are a lot more social than the black rhino we saw earlier, and larger too. The black rhino from earlier gets about 3,000 pounds. These white rhino coming up on your left and right side get about 5,000 pounds. They also have very poor vision though. They cannot see someone standing still within outside of 10 feet away. But they use their hearing and smell to their advantage. They have 4 stomachs as well. But people in Africa use them for trade and even for milk. Right out front, that yellow thing, that's the beehive fence.